Welcome back, creatives. You have just tuned in to the Almost Creative Podcast. I'm your host, Travis Heberling, and today I am joined by Ranka. Ranka is a photographer, but she's not just any point-and-shoot photographer. She has established her brand as a photographer who really, as I would put it in my own words, she really pulls out the soul of the person, and you see that in her photography. I've been seeing her photography pop up in my feed for a few years now, and every time I see it, I'm always super impressed. So, Ranka, I'm just super excited to have you today on the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, and going back to what I was saying, it's very true where as you can imagine, me being a creative, I have a pretty high standard for photography. And nowadays there's just photography everywhere. Like everyone's a photographer or whatever. So it takes a lot to impress me, but you're one of those few photographers I have on my list that every time I see your work, I'm always very impressed with what you do. So
that means a lot. Thank you so much. Super grateful for that. Thank you. I appreciate that. There is truly a lot of photographers, excuse me, out there, right?
Yeah.
People often really think that everybody is a photographer, which they are, right? It's a creative space that is really, you can start taking images with your phone and explore and grow. And often you see it, how many talented people are out there. Yeah. But having it as a business and really staying in a professional realm, it's a whole difference.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game. Taking it from just a hobby to doing it for real. So now I think we've known each other probably at this point for like a couple years, right?
I think so. Yeah.
But I feel like where we really connected was earlier this year. So you had asked me to film a passion project of yours. So it was 40 over 40. And I want to start there just because I think it's such a unique thing that you did. And it was such a cool thing to see. So I would love to talk about that. If you could explain to the listeners a little bit more, like what was the 40 over 40 and how that all came to be.
So the 40 over 40 was, like, as you said, it's a little passion project, and it's really more of a meaningful little campaign that I have run for women over any age of 40. So it could have been 39 to 80 or 90 or something like that. Any age between that. So the 40 over 40 project or campaign was a beautiful photo shoot experience for women over 40, and sharing, and we allowed ladies to just come and be and share their stories of life, of triumph, of struggle, of beauty. And it was a safe space where they can just kind of open up and share whatever, as much as they want to, as little as they want to. And then they would walk away with just amazing, stunning images of themselves. And women often give to everybody else before they fill their own cup, right? So this was a very meaningful project for me as a woman in my 50s now. That I create something like that has a little bit more of a legacy feeling to the women that exist in photos for yourself, not just your family, because women often just say, hey, let's have a photo shoot for our family, or let's have, my family, my dog, my kids, not me. So I encourage women to just show up for themselves, truly, and no reason for it. It could be a milestone and a big birthday, or, something that they have achieved at that point, but it's really truly, it's like, just exist and love yourself, because your loved ones want to see you in the images.
Yeah, and the way I would describe what you had set up too is it essentially was an art exhibit, and it was really cool because you invited them in with their friends and family to see all the photos of just not themselves, but the other ladies that you had the privilege of photographing. And I mean, it was really cool to see their reactions because they were in awe, like especially their friends and family. It was this thing of like, I've never seen a photo like this of you before, but it speaks like who you are more than any other photo. So it was cool to see that. I'm curious, like, how do you get to that level of trust with the client? Because I know even, like a lot of what we do is kind of, outside of the commercial stuff, when it's like events, what happens if you're doing like, say, a wedding or a conference or whatever it is, you might have built a little bit of rapport with these people, but like maybe not their friends and family and the other guests. And so you point a camera at them, they get nervous, they get shy, and you don't really have time to build that rapport. So I'm curious, like, how you make someone feel comfortable in front of the camera.
So I would say that every person or every business owner, you know how when you ask somebody, what is your word that defines you, or what is the word that really moves you, or what is the word that you are connected to as a business owner, as a creative? For me, it's a connection, right? It's a connection, because connection, I feel once you establish a good connection, there is the trust and there is that comfortable setting, right? And people just want to open up, right? So the portraits that I take, it's more of like a portrait interview per se, right? Like we just sit and we first connect, right? I don't book anybody by the email, right? Nobody's gonna get on my book via email only. So I really want to know the client. I really want to know the subject, who they are, why now, what motivates them. I want to find all the smallest details as much as they are willing to share. And then I have 2 consultations prior to them coming into the studio. So now, mind you, I might know a person, right, that is coming, and so it's a little bit easier to connect. But very often I never met them before. So it's really knowing and listening deeply and asking the right questions, and also listening to the client what they really want. And that's where the first touch point starts. And then, of course, like the second consultation, it's like more of like consultation where it's a styling consultation. We talk about all of the details about wardrobe, hair and makeup, a vision for the photo shoot. If it's a branding, where we're going as a brand and as a business. And then if it's personal, like what are we doing? Like where this image is going to live? Like, is it the family legacy? Are we going to have a beautiful image that just lives on your wall, fills up your space with love and care as a family? If it's a boudoir, it's like it's a sensual portrait for a woman that needs to just feel good about herself in that stage in life. If it's a high school senior, it's a fine art. It's like that perfect milestone to capture for that child that is kind of going into the adulthood, and any other genre as well. So it's the connection. Connection is everything. It's my driving force.
Yeah. Now, with the way things are nowadays where people kind of want things right away, there's that instant gratification they want. Do you ever get pushback from new leads whenever you kind of walk them through this? Because I could imagine they might be thinking like, oh, I'm going to book this appointment. I'm just going to show up to the studio. It'll be like 30 minutes of my time and I get my photos. But that's not the experience with you. So do you ever get people with pushback on that?
Absolutely. I mean, people are used, and people just say like, hey, I just need few digital images.
Right.
But that's okay. That's what they know, right? My job as a photographer, as a business owner, the way I run my business, it's to educate my client. So they can come at me with all kinds of objections and all kinds of questions. It's how I do business or how I want to serve them, right? So it's really my job to educate them and to give them more information and to explain and say, this is how it's done. And then we kind of find something that if we can work together or not. But people always push,
Yeah, totally. Awesome.
Totally.
But I'm sure once you kind of educate them, they understand, they invest the money, then they see the portraits, they're like, okay, it all makes sense.
Yes,
all
it's nothing. It's a
together.
quick fix, right?
Yeah.
Like you cannot lose 10 pounds in 3 days, right? So it's just like that. Like the good images need good timing, good preparation, good connection, because the photography is something very, very interesting. It brings a lot of vulnerability in us. So if I was not a photographer, I would have been a psychologist. Just kidding. But pretty much, there is a lot of psychology involved for people to open up.
Yeah. You bring up a really good point that I know for myself. I was training like the creative muscles when I first started. Like I need to understand lighting and all stuff. And then not that that's bad, like you need to learn those things. But as you progress, you kind of get the tech down, and now it's like trying to learn other elements. So it's interesting what you're talking about, where it's like, it sounds like you've kind of spent some time investing in learning like psychology and how to communicate. Just like even in myself, I've tried to learn in business and things like that. So have there been certain things you've studied or learned that helped you better understand essentially the human psychology and like how they work when they have a camera pointed at them?
Well, the minute the camera lifts up, something really magical happens and people just withdraw and they are getting anxious and nervous because they don't know how they look on the other side of the camera. And past experiences pretty much show that people did not like their images, right? Why? Because they have probably never experienced the good image of themselves, or they found multiple reasons. They thought they're not photogenic enough. They thought they're not skinny enough. They're not pretty enough. They're not like, any objections. What really comes down to that they have not experienced that a beautiful image taken, maybe sometimes a selfie. So when the camera lifts up, people withdraw into themselves, and they surface up with all of the nervousness and stiffness and, body language. You just can't see it. And of course, like, you cannot say, hey, relax, or hey, smile. That's not the case, right? Like, it's really finding the way that personality works, right? And that person, what is their story, right? And that's where, again, the connection that I have done before comes in place. And how did I do that? How did I learn all of this? I did not go to school for that. I did not go to college. I only have a high school diploma. I was, from former Yugoslavia, so I moved a few different countries until I settled in the States. And there was a lot of things in my own life, right, that I have dealt with. But I worked in the industry that was all about people and all about connection and all about customer service. And that was the hospitality, restaurant, and hotelier. So the hospitality industry, it's really something that I got a lot of great skills in life, right? I learned just how to serve, how to listen to people, how to make them feel like they're cared for and they're taken care of, right? No matter what kind of personality they might be. So I drew a lot of great people skills out of that industry. And then when I opened it as my own business, ultimately, I know that I will get clients with all kinds of personalities and all kinds of layers, right? Of whatever they're going through. If you don't know that psychology behind the human personalities and what they're looking for, they just want to have good images or good video, or production, right, of some sorts, service. So knowing all of these things to just kind of pause and listen and give a great service and experience, a lot of problems are solved that way.
Yeah. There's a really good book. I'm totally blanking on the author's name, but it's called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yes.
Have you heard of that one?
It's Will Guidara.
Yeah. That was great. And it's, that's, I think too, what I had done for the longest time as a creative. I would box myself into okay, I can only learn from other photographers and videographers, but there's so much you can learn that maybe isn't your industry, but it applies to your industry. And so I had listened to, I don't get to read very often nowadays, but I usually listen in the car.
He's great.
And I listened through that, and it was great. It was so much I could take away from the restaurant industry and how I could apply that to my own business, because people want to be taken care of in a certain way, and they need to feel comfortable, especially if you're going to be taking images of them. They need to feel comfortable with that. So
and the hospitality it's a big word, but if you think about it, you can be hospitable in a many industries, right? You can be hospitable as a CEO of a company, your employees, everything. It's hospitality, right? How do you react and how do you serve really in your industry? It's really important, and I think that kind of translates into that connection and just being able to understand deeper what clients want.
Yeah, awesome. I would love to have you share as well. So, you do these portraits for people, and it really, like I was saying earlier, it really brings out the soul of who they are in these portraits. But I've also seen it on the commercial side in a way where someone comes to you and they have a brand, whether it's a personal brand or a company. And even when you take photos of them for the commercial aspect, I see their brand in their portraits. So I would love to hear how you you bring that to the forefront for them as well.
Oh, I love branding. I love branding because I had to brand myself, right? I had to build my brand out of nothing from scratch. And I know that what really works. And I know you do as well, because you create a lot of branding yourself for a lot of businesses. The personal brand, it's the future. It's absolutely 100%. It's 24/7. Everything we see on a daily basis is visual. It's scrolling. It's personal brand after personal brand. And which one catches our attention the most are actually where the person who runs the business, who is the owner of the brand, as the face of the brand, it shows up. Right? You are the face of your brand, and you should start acting like it. Your face is your value metrics, right? It's our faces, but why is that so important, right? People often think why is that so important? It is important because there's only one Travis, and there is only one Ranka, and there is only one each of us, right? Authentically, how we show up, truly who we are, it's what matters, what gets people drawn to us. the branding, often people think it's a font, it's the logo, it's, all of the things, but it's really not. People want to get connected to us, who we are. So when I create branding photo shoots, that's the key, right? It's a key to capture the person, who that person is, who they are, what they do, and for who. And then, magic happens, and that translates into their brands. Yeah. But yet they need a vision. We need a vision, who we are, what we want. We need a clarity, where are we going? And with all of that, kind of, we developed a brand identity, and the brand, and the people connect with us.
Yeah. Have you had people come to you who don't actually have a brand identity laid out yet, and you almost have to do that workshopping for them?
Yes. It's really a coaching process. Like, I have a detailed questionnaire to send out as well to my clients before they book the branding, because I need to know more about their brand, because people think, oh, I'm just going to get a headshot and a few good shots and I'm going to be done. That's not the case, right? We really want to tell the story through the visual imagery that stops the scroll, and that kind of like just tells the story, and you use the images for all of your marketing purposes. So it could be like you pointing at a wall, of something in action, a little bit of lifestyle photography, bringing your props, sharing a smiley face, not necessarily just the boring top of the head to the middle of the chest kind of compositions, right? But more of a storytelling, who you are. So for the fitness instructor would be one way, right? For the coach, life coach would be something different. For a doctor, let's say optometrist, like the glasses, the devices, all of the gear that they use in their. So it's really something like that. Something like that. Really finding how we can capture the story of the industry, of the niche, and who you are as a person.
That's awesome. So what do you think? Like, like you go to these conferences and stuff, and they have essentially like a headshot. I don't know, like a pop-up headshot station or something. Like, what do you think about those? Because like I always think it's kind of goofy. Like we've even had to do that sometimes for clients. It's just like something they ask. Like we're doing video and they're like, "Can you set up a pop-up headshot area?" And I always think it's kind of silly, because it's like everyone's photo is going to look the same and you don't get their personality. But like I'm curious, like your take on.
All right, my take on it. I'm going to look straight at the camera. Every single one who listens, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Why? Because they typically, unless that photographer can connect with you and can really unlock to give the best angle, or has the best setup, right, in lighting, those shots, you will do it, you will make it, but you will not love it. Yeah. Typically, I mean, it could be a remedy or a band-aid for next segment where you're going, because you never want to do more than just corporate headshots from your corporate. But the corporate is known to really offers this on events, and they hire a photographer, and it's like a cookie cutter, right? Yeah. I am everything but cookie cutter. So maybe that's harsh for me to say, but like that's my opinion, and I can prove it that, investing in a great headshot is the ultimate need for any business owner, for any employee. If you have your headshots that you have not updated in few years, usually it's 5 to 10 years, people haven't. Usually people crop the images from an event that they went to. Usually they have changed in, the lifestyle, and they look different. They have, not just aging, but like you just don't look like yourself after 10 years or 12 years not updating it. So the headshot is the basic minimum that I suggest people really consider updating to freshen up. LinkedIn is a powerful tool. It's a powerful platform.
And I would say too, if you're like the photographer on the other end who you're getting asked to do these, like maybe try to pitch back to them like, hey, I don't want to just have random people coming to the station. Like, how about they have to sign up and then they fill out this questionnaire for me ahead of time. And if they don't fill out the questionnaire, they don't get a headshot, because it's like, and then giving enough time, because usually when I've seen these, it's like they give like each person like 5 minutes. They've never met the person before.
That's right.
And it's like, but maybe there's like almost a way like photographers could pitch back to this company who wants us at their conference and being like, hey, this is the way I do it. I'm going to take time to get to know this person for a little bit. We need like 30 minutes for each person. And like, it's still not as good as doing their own personal brand, but at least maybe they could get something unique out of it.
Sure. And if it's a big corporate, right? If it's a corporate headshots where like you absolutely cannot photograph people, and you cannot photograph people and give them 30 minutes. It'll be like 3 months, right? If you have 100, like you,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just cannot. It's not feasible. Nobody would do it. I photograph corporate headshots as well. So I go like on location in a big conferences and photograph big conferences. Still, connection with the subject. I photographed 130 people in January for the Tempur-Pedic company in one day, in 4 hours. I photographed 130 people in 4 hours. And I can tell you without doubt in my heart that I have created amazing images for those clients because they gave me 5 minutes and I can just like guide you, give me a little bit more of this, a little bit more interactive, a little bit more of a connection. Like everybody's different, but it's just knowing that skill to kind of move the person really fast. It's doable. But if it's a local networking or a local like 30 people gathering together and they're just going to pop up a photo shoot, the headshot booth, I am not for that. But the corporate, if the corporate has a conference and they're inviting all of their employees from around the country into that one conference and they want to give them a gift of photo shoot or a headshot, that's a different game. So there is a different way how you get the headshots at the events.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I want to back up a little bit. I know we've touched on some of your history, but I want to kind of fill in the gaps. So if I remember right, I think you mentioned you got your first camera when you were 13. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Like right.
And where were you at that time then? When you
So
were
I was
13?
born and raised in former Yugoslavia. I'm Serbian, and my dad had the old film camera, Russian, Kiev, and like he gifted it to me.
Yeah.
And he got me 2 rolls of film. He explained to me what to do, and I just used it. And it was the best camera ever, the best images. I love the smell of that leather. I don't know if you ever seen those old film cameras where they had that little, cover, the leather cover, for the camera. And you have to open it and you have to know how to insert the film and roll it and start shooting. It's really pretty great memories. Yeah.
So what would you photograph back then?
Oh, I would photograph people around me, like my grandma. I would photograph flowers. I would photograph like the landscape a little bit. Yeah. A city, a beautiful like architecture. Yeah.
So when did your journey bring you to the United States then?
I was a teenager when the war broke out in the former Yugoslavia, civil war. So that kind of pushed me. I couldn't go to college. So I just went and lived in Germany for a while. Learn German, funny thing, and life plays jokes on us, right? Because I wanted to study German and English as I was growing up and getting ready for college. That was my intention, to go and study 2 foreign languages and become a professor, a teacher, or something like that. And war broke out, and I didn't go to college. I couldn't. So I left the country and I moved to Germany, and I lived there for almost 7 years. I learned German. And then I got to the States in 1999.
Okay. And then so did photography come with you when you came to the States?
Photography came with me, but not as much right away. I feel like it's just it came a little later when my kids were born. No, actually, I take that back. It came before because I had still film camera. Right, the digital was just kind of, the DSLR was just kind of emerging on the market in the early 2000s, and I photographed weddings of the friends and birthdays, and I would always like, hey, let me just take your picture. Hey, let me just take your picture, and people would always comment, oh my God, it's amazing, like this is beautiful. So we went to a friend's wedding to Hawaii. And I had just like disposable camera, really. And I took a lot of images of their wedding, like a close up. They had a photographer, but I thought like I can capture a few little cute images. I opened them up and I opened the images and I developed them, and families were amazed. Like all the friends were like, oh my God, we love it. We love it. They framed it. They asked me for the negatives, It was just a lot of fun. So that was the first kind of like photography experience in the States. And then my kids were born. Then I got the really good camera. I bought more of the camera, and then I went down the rabbit hole and never got out.
So you're one of those parents where their kids always had really good photography.
Yes. Especially the first child has way more than the second one.
That's what happened with ours too. And like we try to stay on top of it, but it's so hard. Or like you're trying to take photos of the second, and the first one gets in the way.
I know,
so.
It's so fun. You know how that goes.
Yeah, that's great. So what was your career then so it sounds like the photography was more on the side, right? So did you have another career that you were pursuing at that time?
Yes. So I work in a restaurant industry.
Great.
So I work in a really like super 5-star restaurant and hotel in Germany. Really great establishment before we moved to the States. So I came with like knowledge of English and German and a lot of hospitality industry knowledge as well. So I pursued that further. Yeah.
Okay. And then so when did the shift happen when you became, Ranka in the restaurants and Ranka the photographer, like the full-time photographer? Like when did that shift happen then?
Well, then I had kids, and then when you have kids, everything changes.
Yeah.
Life gets like really interesting. So I worked only part-time, and I was, mom mostly, and just raising my children. And I grew my love for photography more and more in that space. And when I came around 40-ish, 42, I said, I'm either going to open a restaurant, or I'm going to do photography. And I asked God for a sign. And be careful what you wish for, right? I came across a remarkable mentor. Her name is Sue Bryce. And everything started from there. She's just like this brilliant master photographer that developed her educational platform first, and Creative Live. I don't know if you're familiar with Creative Live.
I know Sue too. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. And then she developed her own platform called, it was for Sue Bryce, and then the portrait system later. And I'm still actually, under her wings. So kind of like I always stayed there. She just kind of built the whole educational platform, and that actually made me like, I had a lot of aha moments, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. But little did I know that I need to really like go back, right? And kind of learn everything first, and further develop like, what do I really see? What is really a composition of an image, right? What is the art of photography? I immersed myself in a lot of free courses online in Ivy League schools. I photographed a lot. I submitted a lot of my images for the, professional reviews, right? And sent it just for like, for giving me a feedback on the images, right? So I really never wanted to do it until I was completely ready. So one of my biggest obstacles was Photoshop, was editing, right? And I knew I had to learn it. I just had such a block learning Photoshop that kind of like took me back, right? I was not afraid of people's skills or anything else, but I needed to feel really good understanding what means to edit an image. What are you looking for when you edit an image? What is the eye trained, right? Where is the shadow? Where is the highlight? What is the exposure? What is the color theory? All of those components that the images need. That actually really like made me stall in launching the business, because I wasn't like just ready with that. So I really took a long time, like almost a year, to learn everything that is like Photoshop related and Lightroom, and a lot of like other paying another mentors to kind of teach you, getting more classes, developing that skill, because I knew I can outsource my editing. But how do I outsource and tell an editor across the world how to edit my images if I don't know what I'm looking for? So for me, and that's how I probably lead every aspect of my life, like you need to know what you're doing. In order to do it right, you first need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, it's not real. So for me, that was like big component. Like I had to know all of that.
And looking back on it, do you think that was the right decision, or do you kind of wish you were essentially building the plane as it was flying?
No, I knew right away that it was the right decision. Because, like, you know how you know? Because you know what you want, right? Like, you know what you want. And then people say often, if you don't know what you want, what do you really want, you know what you don't want, right? And it was like, for me, it was like, okay, I wanted to do something completely different. I know I'm a creative. I love it. I love the restaurant industry, but I think like I'm ready to leave that part of my life because I have built a lot of great skills and everything. Now, like it's time to do something different. My kids are a little older. They don't need me as much. They're not babies. I wanted to do something completely different and something that I love, like something that just fulfills me, right? Yeah. But I did not know that I had to learn all the business side of it, right? Okay, yeah, you're greatly talented. Yeah, little do you know, like, can you make a living out of it? Great, you take great pictures. Can you charge for it? Can you ask for money? Do you know how to market? Do you know how to sell? Do you know how to advertise? So industry is complex. I did not know. So I don't have any regrets, but I did not know what I'm getting myself into as a business owner.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of curious. So, I've heard stories of other, especially like moms who are kind of with their kids and now their kids are grown. They're like, what am I going to do? And a lot of times they go back to school, and I hear that often. They're like, okay, I want to become a photographer. Let's say I'm going to go back to school, learn to become a photographer. You kind of went a different route, which I feel like is becoming more common, where you went to find education that's out there, like whether it's mentors or free education or whatever it might be. I would love for you to talk on that a little bit more. Like, did you ever kind of consider something like school, or were you always set on like, hey, I'm going to learn this from the resources that are out there already?
I did not consider school to go because you can go to a photography college and school. You will still need learn maybe some technicalities, the art of photography. But really running the business, it's a whole different game. You have to learn how to do that on your own, right? Even if you go to business school, it's like you still have to actually go do the work, right? I did not consider doing that, but I did consider that I am capable enough and willing enough that, that fire that got lit, like I wanted to like go and get it, right? Go and get it. And I was like not stopping at anything. Like I did not watch TV. I did not have social life. I did bare minimum that I needed to do. I submerge myself into just like studying and finding the resources and finding right mentors and finding right classes, expanding, connecting in the industry with other photographer, then connecting with the local photographer who are still friends of mine, just kind of getting down and dirty, so to say, and just kind of, finding how can I make this work and what I need to do. Because once you have the vision, once you have the clarity, the vision, then it's just taking the action and doing it.
That's awesome. And just to recap, did you say you were 42 when you started all this? So yes. Last year, right?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks. I established. That's so sweet. Nice one.
But no, like being serious though, like I think it's a good reminder too. Like it's never too late to start. Like because I mean, how many years has that been now since you started?
It's 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years since I started, yeah.
I mean, maybe you'll correct me and maybe I'm wrong, but from what I see, what you have going with your brand and the awesome photos you've taken, like you have a very successful, like well-running business. And so like it's kind of a reminder that it's never too late to start. Like there's, like people say like, when's the best time to start? Well, it was 10 years ago. When's the next best time to start? Right now.
No, exactly. So do not stall for another minute.
Yeah.
It's just now.
Yeah.
It's just now.
So that's great. What would you say have been some of your hurdles or challenges in that past 10 years as you've gotten to the point that you're at now?
I mean, just balancing work and life, right? I'm a mom. My both sons are student athletes to this day. So just like making sure like, family's needs are always met as well, right? Not just a business owner, but I'm like, a mother and a wife and a friend and a sister and a daughter. So just kind of having that perfect life balance, I think that would be something that like, sometimes it's hard. It's hard when you're running your own business, just kind of, step back and take a little moment. And it's a lot, right? Like running it as a business, it's not 9 to 5. It's not 9 to 5, but it's very rewarding and I would not do it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah. What do they say? There's like, I left my 9 to 5 to work 24/7.
That's something.
It kind of feels like that
Honestly,
sometimes.
that's how it is. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
But it becomes a little easier when it is something you love to do. Like, I think of a lot of like my friends that have 9 to 5s, and they have a job they hate, and they clock in, they clock out, they go home, and then that's when they do their hobbies. Whereas like I think it's different for people like us. It's like we've been able to turn our career, like our hobby has turned into our career.
Career.
So it's like, well, what would we be doing with our free time anyhow? It's like
right.
we'd probably be doing this, So it's just cool that
Yeah.
when you can actually turn it into a business as well, then you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get paid to do something that you enjoy doing, and you kind of just want to do it whenever you can.
Yes.
So.
I mean, yeah, it's really, the mentor of mine once said, she's like, I am totally unemployable. Like, this is the work that I love, and I am unemployable. And I'm like, once you are in that realm of like running it your own business and building it the way you want it, and building the brand for yourself and for the clients that come, to you to serve them, and to have beautiful images or video or any creative servicing or coaching or anything really. It's the moment where like, you've just realized, oh my God, this is so amazing that I have this opportunity to do it the way I want to do it, the way I have all this knowledge and all these gifts, right? That I can really serve others and just create a living with it.
Yeah. And like what you're saying, it's like, even if you weren't getting paid, I'm sure you'd still be doing it. Like it's something that you love to do. So.
I love photography. No, don't get me wrong, but I do want to stay profitable.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take pictures of flowers.
Yeah.
Or landscape, or go do wild photography or something else. I always do photography. Yeah. But the portraiture, it's something that I'm really like, again, it comes back to that connection, that human contact, right? It's my thing. And then like creating images that can outlive us, right? It can be on your wall for generations to come.
Yeah.
3-4 generations together, right? And that's the legacy. That's pretty priceless. Like nothing puts, you know how they say like diamonds are forever?
Right.
I say portrait is forever.
Yeah, that's true. And I think when you think of it that way, you think of the images you're taking very differently. Like that was my shift with like our wedding brand over the years. Is it was kind of like, oh, I'm just the videographer, whatever. And then I started really thinking about like, what am I creating? I'm creating something, if it's done well, if it's bad, they're never going to watch it. But if it's done really well, it's something that, yes, they're very excited about right now, and they're going to share it with their friends and family right now. But that's something that's going to get passed down. Like they're going to have kids, they're going to show their kids.
Priceless.
Their kids are going to show their kids. And there's this family heirloom aspect of it that it kind of makes you rethink what you're charging, what you're doing, the value you're adding. Like, I don't want to give them like a cheap, crappy product, essentially. Like I want to make sure they might have to pay a premium, but they're getting a premium product, and it's going to be something that's going to increase in value. And I've had this happen, but I always kind of hope with my couples, I hope like if I run into them in 10 years, they're like, that was like one of the best investments we ever made. Like it was worth more than that. We should have paid you more. And that's what I've heard before. And I always hope that's like what happens with the images I create. And so, yeah, like I don't want to just give them a bad portrait they're going to put on their wall, kind of thing. It's like, I want to make sure it is going to be amazing. It might cost them more than your average photographer, but they're going to appreciate it, and it's going to live on.
Exactly. It's like when I had an event, right? And I wanted to hire you and ask you to film it because I know your skills were just like remarkable. And I'm like, okay, like I really want to have a piece of marketing that like, I can use on my website, I can use on my social, the editing is going to be done right. The lighting will be done right. I could have had my assistants film everything with a little, iPhone clips, but I'm like, no, I can edit those as well. But that's not the point. The point is that exhibit was my first exhibit in a business where I had 40 women and then 120 people showed up, right? That was a big deal, for me to have in this business and its career. So like, okay, totally worth it. Every single penny, everything, right? Like, and it's going to live, right? And, I think you shared it today and I shared it over there. I had the most views ever on that one video. So it's like, how valuable that is, right? And how emotional I get when I see these clips of women crying and like, my speech and like, everybody's gathering, raising glass. It's just powerful. Like as a creators, creating something that will outlive us, it's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Since we're on the topic of your event, I'd love to kind of go back to that, kind of loop back to where we started essentially. And so, what was it? I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on, because if I understand right, it was more so a passion project. I don't know if like these women were already booking you for appointments or not, but like you, essentially this was something you kind of were investing your own free time into and your own investment to host the event. Like what was that like doing that? Like, has it kind of encouraged you to want to do that more? I'd love to just kind of hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. As you mean as a campaign, as a project?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So this was the first one, right? And the 40 over 40 movement has started, I believe in Australia with another photographer, and then kind of went viral across the globe with other photographers. So some photographers did 40 over 40, some did 50 over 50, some did 30 over 30, depending what bracket of an age of women they would like to capture and photograph. For me, it was 40 because I was in her 40s at that time. But to photograph 40 women, it's a lot. It's a big project, right? And it takes a longer time to photograph 40 women. But it's beautiful because you have all walks of life. My youngest one was 39 and my oldest one was 97, and she was there. My beautiful client and friend, Mrs. Jean, she was there. She was 97. So I was thinking I'm going to do one round and I'm going to just stop because it's a lot. It's a lot to photograph. And then you also have to write the stories of these women, right? So when they came in, it was sharing their stories, sharing their journeys of strength and resilient and beauty and all of these things. So I wanted to kind of like call it one and done. But then I truly, in every ounce of my body, I feel it that women need this. And with that being said, I want to continue. I will continue naming it something different. I'm not going to say 40 over 40. And why? I don't want to limit age to women, like to feel like you have to be 40 in order to be photographed. So you can be 20, you can be 30, you can be any age to come in and get photographed. That's one thing. I'm going to name it All of Me, meaning every beautiful layer of us, right? All of our intricacy, all of our personalities, all you can come in as ready as you want, or as little makeup or as much. It can be anything you desire, right? It can be a glam shoot, it can be boudoirish style, it can be empowerment shoot, it can be something that crosses over. And I will photograph probably in this next round, around 20 women. I don't want to wait to have 40 women to photograph. I think like it would be also nicer if it's a little bit more intimate, just kind of being beautiful and, not asking for any permissions of anybody, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Last important question. Can you make Chris and I look beautiful?
Absolutely. I cannot wait to have you guys in a studio. Chris, right? Awesome. Yes, it's going to be a great day.
He told me he texted you something like that, right?
A little bit of branding, a little bit of
can you make me, I want to look cute or I want to look beautiful or something?
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So we're coming in to the end here, Ranka. It was a pleasure talking with you and just learning a little bit more, even a lot of things I didn't even know about you, which was great. So I appreciate you sharing that. What's kind of next for you? Like, I know we just talked about your next campaign, but when it comes to the business and your studio, what's kind of next for that?
Oh, I'm super excited to actually. This is the first time I'm going to share this live and publicly. I just got the new studio in downtown Barrington, and I'm super, super excited. We will have a grand opening eventually. But the next thing is that I have a lot coming on, like lots of things for branding, creating a great marketing imagery and just brand with style, on point, on purpose, and why. I might develop a little something educational for that purposes as well, talking a little bit more about it and kind of getting really educational about why and what are the next steps for us to brand and how to develop our brand awareness. And so I'm as you know, like I have these two umbrellas, right? One that serves more a business world and personal branding and custom design sessions and headshots, and then the other one that is all about personal moments, right? And freezing those moments for a lifetime and creating beautiful pieces of wall art. And, I like to share also that, all of my photography genres beside branding and beside headshots come with products. So it's a lot of valuable custom design albums, prints, fine art prints, and beautiful wall art. So yeah, a little bit of everything.
Great. Well, Ranka, if anyone wants to connect with you, where can they find you?
Oh yeah, they can find me everywhere. I'm on all platforms pretty much. Everywhere it's Ranka Photography, at Ranka Photography for Facebook, Instagram. LinkedIn is my full name, Ranka Djajic Sparavalo, but Ranka Photography is a business. And rankaphotography.com is my website, yeah. So pretty
awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time on this episode. And until next time, stay creative.